What's up everybody, it's Joe from the Wrong Channel, and I'm back from a long hiatus, lasting about a couple of months for some reason. There's just been a lot going on. I've been working more to pay for new toys, like a new car. My old car died on me unexpectedly, and I hadn't been planning on getting a new car anytime soon, so yeah, put my name on the overtime list to help compensate for that. Not what I really wanted to do, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. And on top of that, I've also got a roommate living with me now, which makes things a little difficult to film, because he's here a lot. He was actually supposed to only be here temporarily, like maybe a few weeks, but now he's been here going on 4 months, and it's kind of getting old. But it's like, it's not easy to kick a friend out. And it's not easy to be the bad guy, but sometimes life is just a bitch. Anyway, that's kind of the two main reasons why the videos have been kind of scarce lately. But I have been getting video games, and I have been keeping up with that, writing scripts and things of that nature. So, hopefully I can find little nuggets of time like this, where I've actually got time to film these things and put things together for you guys. But anyways, enough with the yammering, let's get on to the video game haul. So to kick things off, I've actually got a couple of Sega Genesis games that I picked up recently. Now the first one is Hook, and I actually had this for the Game Gear when I was growing up, so I'm assuming it's probably gonna be about the same, maybe a port from the Genesis is what the Game Gear game actually was. But I also actually have this for the Super Nintendo, and the Game Gear game was great, but I mean, it was a handheld device, so the screen was kind of small, which limited what you could do and see. That was the only drawback to it, I'd say. The Super Nintendo version, I think, is really a great platforming game, and I'll probably end up talking about that more in the future coming up. But this one I think I'll have a lot of fun with too, just based on my experience with the Game Gear version. Next, we have Ghostbusters for the Sega Genesis. Now I've got the Ghostbusters... Wait, no I don't. I don't have the Ghostbusters on the NES, but I know that it's not the best game in the world. Certainly not the best Ghostbusters game. I do, however, have Ghostbusters 2 for the NES, and I'd say that's better than the first Ghostbusters game for the NES, but not by much. It's still a pretty decent game for what it is, though. Now this one is a much better game of either of those two. It's standard kind of platformer, but you definitely have a lot more fun playing this one than you do the two NES games. I'd say so far though, my favorite Ghostbuster game would still have to be the PS3/Xbox 360 Ghostbusters game. I've got the PS3 game, and really, for fans of the Ghostbusters series, that would have to be the third Ghostbusters movie. It's not really a movie, but it plays like a movie. And they've got all the cast back, and the writers, sort of, I think. I think Harold Ramis wrote some of the plot for the game. Not entirely sure about that, but I do know that they have the original actors back doing the voice work. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about the Ghostbusters, because it appears that people can get themselves in trouble pretty easily when talking about the Ghostbusters franchise on the internet these days. I don't really want to fall into that category. So that's it for the Genesis games. Moving on to the SNES games. First up, Goof Troop. We got Goof Troop. It's a pretty good kind of puzzle platformer kind of game. Little funky stuff there on the cartridge that I didn't see before, but I'll clean it up later. Anyway, Goof Troop's a pretty good platformer puzzle kind of game where you can play as two players, obviously. Goofy and his son Max. Solving these puzzles, you're like on an island, kind of Caribbean type environment. Lots of pirates and things of that nature. But the goal is to, like I said, solve these puzzles throughout the levels. It's kind of like a top-down-ish perspective, kind of like The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. It's gonna bug me. But I got it complete in box, so I should actually be able to tell you more about the plot, because it's got the booklet. I just haven't bothered to actually read through it yet. But from what I've played so far, it's a pretty fun game, pretty good couch co-op game. So if you see this for a decent price, I'd say pick it up. Definitely worth the investment. Next we have Prince of Persia. Now, my experience with Prince of Persia starts back from when I was a kid. My friend actually had the computer game, I think for Windows 95. We used to play that a lot. It was a pretty fun game from what I remember, but I actually picked up the NES Prince of Persia a few months ago. And that's actually a pretty fun game too. The controls are pretty stiff. You have to do things precisely or you will die. I haven't actually gotten around to playing this one yet, but the footage that you'll see when I'm talking about this now will show you that I actually have played it, so why am I talking about it before I haven't played it? Jeez, that's pretty bad. But I will play it, and I'm sure that I will enjoy it because I enjoyed the NES game and I enjoyed the PC game. So if the NES to SNES comparison is any kind of indication, this game will probably have better controls and better graphics. So of course I will probably like it better. We'll see though, we'll see. Next up we have a blind buy, and that would be Venom and Spider-Man Separation Anxiety. Now I've played a few Spider games before on the Game Gear, and there was a couple of other Spider-Man games on, I think, the Genesis, and certainly on the SNES that I've played. But this is a blind buy for me. I've heard good things about it, and I think I've probably seen a few clips of it before, but I can't be entirely sure about that. It might have been another Spider-Man game. But I think I'll probably have fun with this. You know, I do enjoy Spider-Man games. Venom, I think, is always a cool character. Maybe not the best in the Spider-Man movies by Sam Raimi, but, you know, it's a blind buy. I'll see. I will see if I like it. I think I will like it, though. I probably will. I think it's a side-scroller, a platformer. What have you? What have I done? And last but not least, FZero. Now this is one that we actually had growing up. I really enjoy this game. It's a great racing game. It's got an amazing soundtrack. Does a lot of cool stuff with... Why am I drawing a blank right now? Does a lot of cool stuff with Mode 7 as far as like the driving and around the tracks goes. You know, a lot of the same stuff was done with Mario Kart and other kinds of racing games. But I'd say Mario Kart and F-Zero were really the big heavy contenders for SNES racing games. Now, I went ahead and bought this. Like I said, we still have this game, but it's part of the family collection, so I can't really take it for myself for my own collection, so I decided to go ahead and buy another cartridge just for my own personal collection. I actually bought this game twice today. And that's because the first time that I bought it, the cartridge looked great. I mean, like, the outside was clean and everything, but like I usually do, I crack open the cartridges and give them a good cleaning before I actually stick them in with the rest of the games, just so that I know that they're clean. And I should preface and say that I did buy this from a video game store. Usually, games that you get from video game stores are in pretty good condition, especially a game like this where it was in the counter, like the display case, wrapped in plastic like their great gem games are. Now, I haven't had any problems with this particular game store before. I've had problems before in the past, but the game store in the past was kind of a rundown, low-budget game store where you know that you're probably going to have to do a good bit of cleaning because the owners smoke. The store itself is kind of dingy, but you know, that's the gamble that you take. Now, when you go to a good game store where they've got tons and tons of games and they keep them in display cases and things like that, it's usually a safe bet. Well, I cracked this thing open to clean it. Not this one, mind you, because this is the second game that I bought of F-Zero today. But I cracked the first game open. Again, the cartridge looked good. It was clean and all. I just had to clean up spots here and there, but nothing huge. Cracked it open to clean it, and it was a mess inside. There looked like there was corrosion. Somehow there was rust inside. It was probably the dirtiest game that I'd ever seen. And I just thought for a minute, I could clean it up, but it's had all this corrosion in the first place. Even if it plays, how much longer would it play? And that's just a gamble that I wasn't willing to take. So I took the receipt back to the store with the game, traded it in. Fortunately, there weren't any problems. They basically just said, yeah, we don't have the equipment to actually open the games, so we couldn't really see what it was like inside. I mean, I'm glad that they didn't give me any problems when I was trading it in for a better cartridge, but just telling me that doesn't really fill me with confidence. You're a video game store. Video games are what your main commodity is. Why do you not have the tools necessary to get into the video games to maintain and clean them? That should have been like one of your main tools, one of your essential tools. I mean, it's not a disc game like a PlayStation game, but they do have tools to clean those games, so you would think that they would actually have the tools to clean these games. I mean, I'm not a professional game dealer, I'm a collector, but I still have my tools, my little special screwdrivers to get inside these games, and my brass cleaner to clean them up, things of that nature. And it's just a hobby of mine. This is what you guys generate your revenue with. You should really invest in some of these tools to keep these games in good condition. I mean, I'll say up front, I will use them again, just because this was an isolated incident, and I do have the tools to clean these games myself. I just thought it was kind of weird that they didn't have the tools necessary to keep up with their merchandise. That seems like a no-brainer to me, but whatever. I mean, like I said, I haven't had problems in the past with these guys, so I will continue to do business with them. I'm not going to name the store because I don't feel like I should drag their name through the mud or anything like that. I mean, it was just an oversight on their part, so you can't really fault them for that too much. But anyways, that's all for today. A nice little handful of gems. I'm, again, happy with all of them. I still haven't played a few of them. I will play them, and I'm sure that I will enjoy them immensely. But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I'll have some more videos for you here in the future. In case you haven't seen, I'm starting to get more into the movie review kind of things. Because initially when this channel started, that was part of what was going to happen. You know, we're gonna review video games and movies, and I've kind of mostly been focused on video games for the first year, so now I'm gonna try to incorporate movies into the mix too. And fortunately, there are a bunch of video game movies just kind of mishmashing that I can kind of review 2 in 1. And I'm probably going to be hitting that pretty soon. I know that there's one in particular that I have planned for the Halloween season because it is a horror video game which is based on a horror movie, so those two just go together perfectly. I will probably have a lot of fun with that review, and I'm sure that you guys will probably enjoy it as well if you do enjoy horror movies and horror video games. But thank you guys for watching. I'm Joe from the Wrong Channel. Have a great day. Have a great day. Just have a great, fantastic day. It's all sunshine and rainbows here. Except for that asshole who won't move out of my goddamn house. Son of a bitch!